you know, they've almost always had somebody in the top 2 at almost every race. Caution flag is out.
Caution flag for the first time, and that is Mr. Foyt, who had just brushed the wall earlier.
And it's very likely that no matter how lightly he touched the wall,
damage the suspension.
Damage the suspension. These cars are so fragile. When you hit anything, it usually bends or cracks something. And his last race in an IndyCar is not going to end happily.
And, you know, going to stock car racing, I'm not sure we'll see him back in an IndyCar. There aren't that many rides available, and he has made a commitment to go, in fact, yet this season to some Busch races and run a full-time ride next season. And that does raise the question: will Grandpa put his son Larry in the car?
Well, then there is.
Look at AJ right now.
AJ has always been a huge supporter. I think he'll bring a car back and run it again next year.
And Fernoro, his longtime PR lady, seated next to him, and AJ looks pretty calm.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't look like he's all that upset. But now he's pulled the helmet off, so it looks like everything is okay with him. He's moving around in the cockpit. But he hit the wall pretty hard. You can see spun around and smacked it with the left side tires, so tore off both left side tires and the rear wing.
He actually had a cameo role as an actor, cameo role in the Dukes of Hazzard movie. Got to throw a punch in a barroom scene. He threw a punch there, but I think the wall won that fight.
Yeah, and he's very lucky he didn't get hit right there. A couple of guys paying real close attention and missed him on the low side of the racetrack. And that racetrack was even still a little wet down there on that apron, and they still managed to miss him.
Well, our yellow comes out on lap 31. As soon as they open the pits, we'll see the entire field on pit road. And then we'll see probably some adjustments, certainly to Danica Patrick's car, because if they did set that thing up to put more downforce into it, they'll have to loosen it up.
Yeah, and he's not getting out of that car.
They're going to put the cervical collar on him, so they're taking their time.
So he's at least shaken up. They've got the backboard there and the cervical collar, so they're going to take their time getting him out of there and make sure he's okay.
And I tell you what, you're right there dealing with the best safety crew in the business of motorsports.
It's unbelievable how good those guys are. We've seen them time after time at some pretty serious incidents. They're always right on top of it. They're not afraid to climb into the fire and or anything else. And we've seen them do that a couple of times with the car still on fire.
Well, the medical director, Dr. Henry Bach, who resides in Indianapolis, Indiana, is right there on the scene. He's back normally in the infield care center in radio contact, normally in television viewing, and then he climbs in his personal vehicle and goes out on the racetrack to help assess the injury, triage, if you will, on the track. This is a traveling emergency crew. They train heavily back in Indianapolis, and of course, how many times have we seen, certainly at the Indy Motor Speedway, a car is still sliding and the emergency truck is right there.
Exactly.
As soon as that car stops, they're there.
That's right. And these guys I think they run at least they used to, and I think they still do. One time a year they run a seminar, and anybody from any other track around the country, whether it be a large track or a small track, wants to send somebody there, they will go through their whole safety procedure and teach those guys. Cost them nothing, and it's part of their training, but they also are willing to train anybody else that wants to come.
Look back through the field under yellow. It's still Schechter, Cornish, Kanaan, Franchitti. Ingy is back in 5th under this yellow. Then it's Sharp. Sharp has moved up in the 6th position. Mira is 7th. Lazier is 8th. They're still trying to remove. Now they have young Anthony out of the car. As you take a look at the helmet of Kanaan, who is in 3rd position.
Yeah, he's.
And this doesn't mean, Larry, that there's an injury. This is just precautionary in many cases.
He was moving his arms. He was conscious, but evidently he was complaining of some back pain or some neck pain. And these guys don't take any chances. If you complain, they'd rather take the extra time, do the precautionary work, and take you to the infield care center and not take a chance, and that's exactly what they're doing with him right now.
You saw he shot at the grandstand. It was a very late arriving crowd. Actually, the crowd was here. They were out in their cars waiting out the rain.
Well, it did rain. You're right. When it was almost time to start, it didn't look like there was going to be anybody here. They've sold over 50,000 tickets for this event. I'm not sure in California it's a little bit weird because they have, sunny, nice weather probably 330 days or 340 days a year. So when it does rain, it's kind of a
It's a news story.
Yeah, it's a news story to them. It'd be great to be a weatherman in Los Angeles. You can say the
Yeah,
same
you
thing
say,
every day.
well, you saw my cash yesterday. Well, it's the same today.
That's right.
Ditto.
Free taper for about 2 weeks and go on vacation.
So they will take young Mr. Foyt to the Infield Care Center for examination and, if need be, on to the local hospital. But we should see the pits open probably the next lap by.
Yeah, he's the car. You know, they're going to get it out of there, and they will open the pits pretty shortly. They just want to make sure that he was out of the car and on his way to the